as well as starred in it.
Do you remember when I asked that guest what a producer does?
I remember that guest was like bottom 3 guests, in my opinion. I don't mean as far as quality, like he was fine. I hated that cocksucker so much. God, I hated that fucking guy. And I don't mean that gay way. I don't think he actually sucks dick or anything. I just think he's a piece of shit. And I don't care if he does suck dick. I would much rather the guy was awful. That was awful. He was so scatterbrained and all over the place.
He wouldn't answer any of the questions.
And I watched his piece of shit TV show up until or movie.
I saw the whole thing. Yeah, Jackie and I watched it together.
Bridge too far for me. I got to the point where he's in it as like the mastermind, and I was like, okay, buddy, I didn't know you were an asshole and a retard. Like, I just turned it off after that. Like
an asshole I could deal with, but a retarded asshole. Get out of here.
That guy was the worst. Hey, so,
it's
all right,
hard
so you're
for
a
me
producer. What do you do? Well, I don't know.
It's like, well, we need
that would have been a better
here.
answer than what he gave, right?
It is a talk show.
He can haul around for 5 minutes, like autistically about nonsense, and then we were still like, so again, as a producer, what would you say you do? And then he
during the course of a day. I feel like adding that tells people to describe their day and like what they really do.
That puts people in a corner. All those people who have made up like Twitter jobs or whatever, it's like they're like, well, I mean, on a given day, I don't know. They start like bullshitting around. Well, we mean like today? They have to ask about which day we want to break down all of a sudden. Because if you were a fucking chicken farmer, I'll tell you what, you'd be well, I get up real early. You know, I have to get breakfast in, a big one, because I'm going to need my energy. Gonna have to work hard until noon. I'll start out, and you'd know exactly. First, I check this to make sure everything hasn't, like, I haven't lost my entire net worth last night. All right, we're good. Nothing's on fire. Nothing is flooded. Like you'd know what you did as an accountant. I bet you know what your day is. Well, first I drink this coffee. I check this thing on my emails. Any job we've ever done at anything,
you can know describe it.
This guy is like, well, you know, it's which day? Like a Tuesday? Well, I was on a Tuesday. I like to have some fruit.
I tried to ask him why it took.
Tuesday's sleeping.
That show took a super long time to make. I forget if it was 6 years or 12 years or whatever.
Or a decade or something.
And I was like,
asleep.
How can it take that long? How can it think? I was like, were you actually doing things on it? And I still don't remember my answer. But if I told you I had been mowing my yard for the last 7.5 years, you'd say, it's not a 7.5 year job. It can't take that long.
Yeah. See, with something like this, I could understand if you told me, well, look, I had the outline in college. I had the outline in college. I basically had it finished written after 2 years after that. A partner of mine, we finished the writing. But man, getting funding for this thing was a thing, and that took about 6 years. But the problem was to get the funding. There were some rewrites that took another couple. We had to hire some more people on, and finding people who would sign on to a project this late in the. I just made up a better answer than he could fucking come up with after 15 fucking minutes. Oh my God, it was infuriating. And there was that one part where I was like, dude, if you don't want to talk about your shit, frankly, neither do I. You just let us know.
You're like, I'm trying here. I'm talking about your show and things that we think you're interested in. I complimented you. I compared you to Graham Stoker's Dracula. I'm going to fuck that up a little bit. You're like, we're trying to stay in your wheelhouse. You can't hit it back. You asked us if we like playing video games. The fuck? That guy was weird. I generally don't tear down our guests, but if he came on here trying to be a bad guest, he couldn't have done that more.
He might have been, but did we get trolled? That could have been. I'm almost willing to accept that. That is, being trolled is more likely than him being genuinely like that.
Yeah, because there were times I just remember how often you would ask, like, so tell me what's it like, the communication between the writers and the people who end up making the visual effects, and he'd be like, "There's a lot." and that would be, you remember that it'd be like 15 seconds of pregnant pause and then no answer, because you for the first 5 seconds you're like, he's kind of pensive, he's thinking, he's formulating what he wants to say, and then over the next 5 seconds you're like, oh no, he isn't. No, he is not. He is like staring at me like someone in a video game when I need to hit X to move on to the next conversation topic. Like, don't NPC me, man. Like, give me something here.
Standing there wiggling a little in the wind.
Yeah,
we had a
in
lost
his fight
episode.
animation.